A London shopping centre. A massive explosion. 100 people running for their lives. This isn't some distant war zone on the evening news, a flickering image from a place you cannot name. This is Wimbledon. 10 past 10 on a Monday morning. The thud of the blast echoing off manicured lawns and tennis club walls. The heart of a civilized, prosperous nation. Or what used to be. They tell you it was an accident. They tell you not to worry. They tell you a man was injured, but it could have been worse. But as the acrid smoke clears from that underground car park on Queen's Road, a terrifying question hangs in the air, a question they are desperate for you not to ask. In the Britain they are building for us, what is the difference between an accident and an attack? And that was only the beginning of the deception. The official story was deployed with the cold, military precision of a pre-planned operation. A protocol for calming the herd. Almost before the fire was out, before the last terrified shopper had been evacuated, the narrative was set in stone. Not terror-related, the Met Police spokesperson insisted, the words carefully chosen, pre-approved, designed to tranquilize a panicking public. The contents of the van exploded after the vehicle is believed to have struck the roof. Move along, nothing to see here. The mainstream media, as always, became a willing echo chamber, a chorus of compliance, dutifully repeating the script word for word. An unfortunate incident. A freak accident. A story to be buried by the afternoon news cycle, replaced by celebrity gossip or weather forecasts. Case closed. But is it really that simple? Is our country now so fragile that this is the only story they dare to tell? Look at the evidence they hope you'll ignore. Look at the photographs of that grey van, a twisted wreck of scorched metal. The back half is peeled open like a sardine tin by some immense, internal force. The roof is buckled, the sides blown out. A blast so powerful it was heard by people blocks away, a massive blast that shook the foundations of nearby buildings and sent a tremor of fear through the entire community. And we are seriously expected to believe this catastrophic detonation was caused by a simple bump on a height restriction bar. Since when do our cities, the streets our parents and grandparents walked with confidence, contain such casual, volatile danger? The British people aren't stupid. They have seen enough. They have lived through decades of genuine threats and real alerts. They can feel the ground shifting beneath their feet. And they know, with a cold certainty born of experience, when they are being lied to. This isn't just about one van in Wimbledon. This is about the creeping decay, the slow-motion collapse of order in our country, and the political class that covers its eyes and ears. They are not treating this as a catastrophic security failure, they are treating it as a public relations problem. Their first instinct, their muscle memory, was not to secure the nation, but to secure the narrative. To manage your perception. To keep you docile and prevent you from asking the hard questions about the state of our security and the state of our cities under their disastrous watch. Critics are already warning this is a textbook example of threat deflation, a deliberate downplaying of risk to avoid public alarm and, more importantly, to avoid political accountability at all costs. It is an act of unforgivable cowardice, a betrayal of the first duty of any government, to protect its people. Because while ordinary Londoners were being herded behind police cordons, their day of shopping turned into a scene of carnage, what was happening just a few miles away in the sterile, air-conditioned Westminster bubble. Keir Starmer and his team of advisors were putting the finishing touches on their latest grand announcement. The biggest reform of the asylum system since the Second World War, they had the audacity to call it. A masterpiece of political theatre, a blizzard of legalese and focus group sound bites, designed to make him look strong, decisive, and in control of a country that is visibly, audibly spiraling out of it. Now, look at the brutal contrast. The two-tier system in all its grotesque horror. In their Britain, the political class debates legal frameworks and holds sleek press conferences, protected by rings of steel and taxpayer-funded private security. They live in a different country, a country of police outriders, secure buildings, and chauffeur-driven cars that never have to enter a public car park. They talk of systems and processes, utterly detached from the chaotic, dangerous world they have created. They don't have to park in an underground lot and wonder if the vehicle sitting next to their family car is a ticking time bomb. They don't have to explain to their children why the world outside their front door feels increasingly hostile and unpredictable. They are insulated from the consequences of their own failures. In our Britain, the one you and I have to live in, retired engineer from Morden in his 60s, a grandfather on his way to buy a model train for his grandson's birthday, is rushed to hospital with serious burns. 100 people, a young mother from Rains Park, her hand clamped over her child's mouth in the pushchair to stop him breathing the smoke, a widower from Collier's Wood, buying flowers for his late wife's grave, a Polish electrician who's worked here for 15 years and thought he'd left this kind of chaos behind in the old Eastern Bloc, are forced to flee, their sense of safety shattered forever. A former Royal Marine sergeant from Hull messages a friend, the words chillingly precise, "This is what low-level anarchy looks like." It starts with things like this. First the police lose the streets, then the politicians lose their nerve. We saw it in Belfast. We saw it in Basra. Now we're seeing it in bloody Wimbledon. This is the reality. A simple trip to buy a pint of milk now carries a risk that was once unthinkable. This is the price of their incompetence. This is the humiliation they have inflicted upon us. Chaos for the people. Comfort and control for the elite. Many fear this isn't an isolated incident, but a preview. A glimpse into the future of our decaying public spaces, where the veneer of civilization is wearing terrifyingly thin. And at the very heart of this managed decline, this deliberate lowering of standards, stands Keir Starmer. A man who embodies the weakness and the profound dishonesty of the entire political establishment. This is the same Keir Starmer who, as Director of Public Prosecutions, presided over an era of falling prosecutions and rising excuses. A man whose entire career has been a masterclass in avoiding hard choices and siding with the process, not the victim. His entire project is built on a single, catastrophic lie, the lie that you can have a low-trust, high-chaos society and somehow call it progress. He offers carefully worded statements, not strength. He promises reforms on immigration, but insiders warn they are nothing but a smokescreen, a complex shell game designed by open-door ideologues to appease his radical activist base while doing nothing to solve the problems that are tearing this country apart. He is the face of an elite that is utterly, pathologically disconnected from the consequences of its own ideology. An elite that has presided over the managed breakdown of law and order. Sources in the security services have claimed for months that the system is at breaking point. That they are overwhelmed. That they cannot keep us safe with the resources and the political backing they are given. Yet the politicians in charge simply refuse to listen. They are so desperate to avoid panic, so terrified of admitting they have lost control of the streets, that they will deploy a hazardous area response team to a major explosion and then tell you, with a straight face, it was just an unfortunate incident. Sir Keir's silence on this isn't an accident, it's a strategy. He doesn't want to talk about the breakdown of British society because he is the chief architect of its replacement. But the people see the truth. The heroes of this story are not in Parliament. They are in the comments sections online. The ordinary men and women, the tradesmen, the veterans, the lorry drivers. Who looked at the pictures and immediately knew the official story was a lie. They are the true experts in this story, the ones who live and work in the real world, not the sanitized fantasy land of Westminster. Their common sense is a weapon against the credentialed stupidity of the establishment. They are the nation's immune system, detecting the poison and raising the alarm. Their voices are amplified by the few who dare to speak truth to power. People like Nigel Farage, who has warned for years that this is the inevitable destination. That if you allow your standards to slip, if you lose your pride as a nation, if you stop policing your streets with rigor and your borders with authority, you create a vacuum. And that vacuum will always be filled by chaos. He was called a fearmonger. A radical. Now, he looks like a prophet. It starts with small things. A loss of respect. A decline in standards. And it ends with explosions in Wimbledon. So you have to ask yourself. Do you believe the official narrative, the one designed by committee to keep you calm and compliant? Or do you believe your own eyes, and the evidence of a country falling apart at the seams? Is this the future you accept for your family? A Britain where public spaces are no longer safe, and the authorities are more interested in managing headlines than in guaranteeing your security. If you refuse to be silenced. If you believe Britain deserves better than this managed collapse, then make your voice heard. Share this video. Force them to answer the questions they are desperately trying to avoid. Let them know that the watchman is not alone. We are the millions who see. We are the silent majority, finding our voice. We are all watching. And we will not look away.